Have you ever tried so hard to do the right thing and somehow ended up right back where you started? You promised yourself this time would be different. You prayed about it, you meant it, and a few days later, the same anger, the same habit, the same thought pattern pulled you right back in. If you've lived that cycle, I need you to hear this. It's not that you don't love God enough. It's not that your willpower is weak. The Bible names exactly what's happening. And once you see it, the whole cycle starts to make sense. Galatians 5 verse 17 says it plainly. The flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh, for these are opposed to each other. That word opposed isn't a suggestion. It's a war, and here's what most people miss. You were never meant to win that war by trying harder. You were meant to win it by walking differently. Today, I want to walk you through 4 real shifts, straight from Galatians 5, that explain why striving fails and what actually sets you free. Shift 1. Reaction versus patience. Galatians 5 verse 20 names hatred, discord, and fits of rage as works of the flesh. Notice that word, works. Reaction is something the flesh produces on its own, instantly, before you've had time to think. That's why gritting your teeth doesn't fix it. You can't out-discipline something that fires faster than your discipline can catch it. But Galatians 5 verse 22 says peace and patience are fruit of the Spirit. Fruit isn't forced, it's grown. The shift isn't trying harder to stay calm. It's yielding the moment before you react, even silently praying, Lord, breathe your peace into this, and letting Him produce what you can't manufacture. Shift 2. Comparison versus love. Verse 20 also names envy and selfish ambition. Comparison feels harmless because it's quiet, but it's still a work of the flesh because it's the flesh measuring your worth against someone else's life. Willpower can't kill envy because envy isn't really a behavior you can stop doing. It's a posture of the heart. But love, the first fruit listed in verse 22, reorients you completely. Love doesn't compete, it blesses. The shift is this. When comparison rises, don't suppress it. Ask the Spirit to grow love in that exact spot and watch resentment lose its grip. Shift 3. Numbing versus self-control. Verse 19 lists sensuality and debauchery. Behaviors built around escape, around numbing whatever you don't want to feel. This is where most people fight hardest and lose most often, because the craving underneath the habit runs deeper than discipline can reach. You can white-knuckle a habit for a season, but white-knuckling isn't self-control. Self-control, in verse 23, is fruit too. It's not gripped, it's grown through abiding. The shift is trading the grip for the root. Deal with what you're escaping from in God's presence, and the self-control follows. Shift 4. Striving versus keeping in step. This is the shift underneath all the others. Galatians 5 verse 25 says, since we live by the Spirit, let us also keep in step with the Spirit. Not run ahead, not drag behind. Keep in step. Striving is you trying to walk the whole road alone, in your own strength, exhausted by mile 2. Walking in the Spirit is matching your pace to His, staying close enough to follow His lead in real time. That's the difference between a Christian who white-knuckles obedience for a season and burns out, and one who walks in it steadily, year after year. So let's bring this together. Reaction loses to patience when you yield instead of grit your teeth. Comparison loses to love when you ask the Spirit to grow it instead of suppressing it. Numbing loses to self-control when you deal with the root instead of gripping the habit. And striving loses to peace the moment you stop running ahead of God and start keeping in step with Him. None of this happens because you tried harder. It happens because you walk differently. Galatians 5 verse 16 puts it simply. Walk by the Spirit and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Not won't be tempted, won't gratify. That's the promise. If this spoke to you, take a moment and respond. Comment below. Spirit, lead me. Share this with someone who's been stuck in the same cycle, trying harder instead of walking closer. And stay connected for more messages that help you walk with God, not just work for Him. You are not failing because you're weak. You're tired because you've been carrying a fight that was never meant to be carried alone. Keep in step with the Spirit and watch the war you've been losing finally start to turn.